Look, I talk about books a lot, but neither man nor woman nor non-binary space god can live by books alone. That's why I'm going to tell you to grab your long scarf, your TARDIS key, your sonic screwdriver, and let's talk about Doctor Who. Specifically, the new series of Doctor Who that premiered tonight / tomorrow on Disney Plus or the BBC. You might be asking yourself, John, is there some sort of nerdy thing that you aren't into? And the answer is a few, but my main loves honestly are and have been my entire life Star Trek and Doctor Who. I got introduced to both of those around the same time when I was 8 years old. So we were blessed with 2 episodes, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing for me. We only have 8 episodes this season, and having gone from 12 or 13 episodes before to 8 is hard. It really is. It just doesn't feel like enough time. We're basically only going to have Doctor Who back for a month and a half at this point. Here are my non-spoiler thoughts about the 2 episodes that started off this season. First episode tonight was Space Babies. Now, Russell T Davies loves a silly opener. He just tries to make it as family friendly and fun, and sometimes that works really well. Sometimes I think it works less well. There hasn't really been a season opener that he's written that I've disliked. It's more whether I think it's memorable in the long term. Space Babies I thought was a lot of fun. Space Babies is a completely ridiculous concept and actually features little, CGI mouths for the babies, but it's really well done. I mean, it's pretty convincing, other than the fact that the babies are sort of looking around sometimes and not necessarily emoting. I mean, how dare you babies not emote? And what I was surprised by was how much heart that the script and the actors actually pull out of this concept. There are some really genuinely sweet moments here between the Doctor and Ruby and the babies, and even Nanny. There's a lot of fun stuff there. The monster in this episode is really interesting. I really love that it was a practical suit. One thing I'm not super fond of in New Who in general is all the shouting and jumping around and running around. I think sometimes, I kind of like, ooh, let's just tone that down a tiny bit. But it's a very minor complaint. It's for my sensibilities, I think a little bit of that goes a long way. At the same time, it does help give the episode a very propulsive sense of energy, and it zips through the episode very quickly. And that's really good. A very solid episode. Will I watch it again and again? I don't know, but I had fun watching it. Next up is The Devil's Chord, featuring drag performer Jinx Monsoon, and she is brilliant. I love the maestro. That was the non-binary space god I mentioned earlier. They are such an incredible presence. It's just like the perfect villain. I love camp villains who are genuinely scary and dangerous. And the maestro checks all of those boxes. I wasn't entirely sure how I'd feel about this episode. I didn't know how Beatles-centric it was going to be. I'm not anti-Beatles at all. Like, I do like the Beatles. I had the one album. I think their music is good. I'm just not like a super fan like some people are. If it had been David Bowie, I would have been going nuts. But, with the Beatles being a part of it, they were actually utilized very well, especially since they couldn't actually use any Beatles music because it is crazy expensive. The one thing I will say is there's a lot of breaking the fourth wall ever since the specials and then through these episodes. There are multiple times when characters are literally winking at the screen, and I have mixed thoughts about that. I hope it doesn't happen too much more, because the instances where it happens here, I think are fun and cute and make a certain amount of sense in universe as well. The ending of this episode was a lot of fun. Definitely did not see that coming. And I'm just really interested to see how people feel about this. I do feel like some of the more, I don't want to say stuffy, but the more serious sci-fi fans may have some problems with these 2 episodes because they are a bit lighter and fair overall. Although they definitely have moments of pathos and danger and frights. And I sort of appreciate that kind of bouquet of clashing emotions that Russell T Davies is really good at. But I know not everyone loves that. And I think that the next episode, boom, is going to be some more of that maybe grittier sci-fi that those fans will crave. So if you don't like this episode of Doctor Who, the next one might be more to your liking, because in the essence, it is an anthology series where you have the same characters, the Doctor and Ruby, and reoccurring characters, but really they're involved in new stories from week to week. So overall, I thought this was a really strong 2-episode premiere, but there are some things that these 2 episodes were kind of heavy in that I hope they don't indulge too much into. But let me know what you thought, and I do have to just give a shout out to my friend Laura. She knit this scarf for me long ago, and it is ridiculously long. Like, I had this looped around a million times, and I love it dearly.